Brian back here. We're going to take a look at Turbo. First, I'm going to show you Bitcoin here, right? This obviously the big boy of the market, trying to figure out what it's doing, right? Now, back in 2017, when Bitcoin pulled down in the bear market, right, it never pulled back down below these closing monthly candles over here, right? See the closes right here. Came down in the bear market, just about retested the top of that, and that's where it bounced up. Now, if we're going to do the same thing, um, in this bear market coming, you don't want to really see it go any lower than, 61, 61 and a half. It could end up even down to 59, right in that range. If it keeps, the similar type structure here. If you want me to pull this up a little bit and show you, you can see how it came down, retested this area over here, but like I said, never came back uh, below that, right? Even on a weekly, we bring this in. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, on a weekly, you have some closes on a weekly here that obviously it violated up through here, just barely, and up here. But pull this down. That's all that lower it ended up coming. As far as monthly closes go, it didn't go any lower, right? So if we're looking for Bitcoin to continue the same thing, which, it's hard to say, who knows if it will or not, right? This has been an odd cycle in itself. But, if you take a look here, Bitcoin did do a 1618 as far as the fib level goes, one above it. So one above the target that originally had. Even I thought right up here when it hit 100, I thought that was probably going to be the top, but it ended up pushing up here to what, 125, 125, almost 126, right, 126. Before it broke down here. Now, what's going on now with this thing? Okay, if we take a look, if we come in on a daily, looks like it's doing, 5 Elliott waves down in here. Okay, we pull this in, take a look here. Just this wave down here, it just looks like, if you're familiar with Elliott waves, your 1, 2, your 3, your fourth wave is normally your. If wave 2 isn't complex, then your fourth wave should be. What do we have here? We got a pretty complex wave, right? Fourth wave back, and then a fifth wave down. Now, if this does complete that, right, where would it put a target for a push down? Well, if we take a fib, these are pretty accurate, guys. I'm telling you. If I found another, let's take a look here. All right, just this fifth wave up. All right, you had 3, you had 4 pull back here, then you had a fifth wave to the upside, right? If you're looking for a target for that, you take your fib, pull it down here, and end up coming pretty damn close, right? 126, 131 would have been a 1618. But these tend to be pretty close, right? How much was it off as far as percent goes? Was off 3.5%. Okay, so you can see these Fibonacci's work right now. A target down here would be $72,000. Does that line up with anything? Well, if we come out, let's go to monthly. Look for a close. Any closes around 72? Do we have any? Yep, sure do. Right there at about 71.4. Okay. You could get a push. You could get a push to that. Absolutely, it's right near that 618, 72. 71 and a half. You have weekly or monthly closes right here. It could come down to, and then what would I be expecting after that? Quite honestly, a retracement, right? Some kind of bounce back up. Okay, if it comes down here to 72, say pulls down here. That's what that fifth wave ends up doing. then we get a retracement back up to the upside, right? Get a little bit of excitement back in the market, get some buyers back in the market, drag some people back in, thinking, oh, here we go, the price is heading up again, right? And quite honestly, I would expect, some kind of retracement back up into these levels. Call me crazy, say what you will, but up into this area, up into this box. And what would that be making out here? Well, we'd be making out an A wave, a B, and a C. Okay. Now, what kind of target would that give this to the downside? 55, which would violate what we talked about a little bit ago, right? Now, we have the monthly closes back there. Does that mean it has to come the whole way down to 55? No. Could be a short C leg, absolutely, no question about that. Could be a wick down here and then back up. Not a closing candle, but a wick, just like over here, wicks. You know what I'm saying? Right down here. Get them all the time. Wick down to finish, down to 55, and then fire back up. Or maybe it doesn't do what it did in the past, and it goes down below this 61,000. We'll just have to see how that works out. But I would expect some kind of retracement in here, right? The market needs money to survive. It needs buyers and sellers, and it needs excitement. It needs, pandemonium. It needs retracements, right? Run down, run back up, A, B, and then the final flush to the downside, right? And then bear market in between here, right? Until the next, bull run to the upside. But, quite honestly, that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway, right? Does it mean it's going to do that? Hell, I don't. Who knows, right? It's going to do what it's going to wants to do. Maybe it comes down, and maybe it just goes the whole way down here, and we don't get any retracement. And it comes down here and just goes sideways for the whole bear market. But this would be an optimistic look, right? That's pretty optimistic view. That would be back up to 105,000. Is that possible? Yeah, it's possible, for sure. I mean, this thing has dropped straight down. Past couple months have been straight down. Went from 126 down to this lowest down here, down to 80,000 bucks. 90, 100, 110, 20. That's $46,000 straight down. Could it bounce 70 up to 35,000? Yeah, absolutely. Back up to retracement and then roll over ABC. And head into the bear market. Sure, no question. Could absolutely do that. A, B, C, right? I mean, that's what makes sense to me. Does that, like I said, does that mean it's going to happen? Who knows, right? You got the monthly RSI coming down. You got the weekly 6.9 and a 7.5. Just about reset on the weekly, right? You got the weekly RSI just about reset. Maybe you get this last push to the downside, and then, like I said, maybe we get a push up. Let's take a look inside here, right? See what's going on in here, right? Let's get this off here. You got a like a bear flag forming down here. Get this a little bit better as we zoom in here. But if you come in on a daily RSI is about near the top. You got this wedge forming up here. More like down here, right? Down through here. Like this. Pull this down in here. There we go. Not like that, right? Something like that. Okay. I'm looking, and then quite honestly, if you look in here, if you're familiar with Elliott waves, normally you get a 382 retracement. And what do we have here? Begin. Let's see here. Yeah, how about a 12 hour? See a little bit better. do have a run up towards that 618, but didn't reach it. On a daily, you have all kinds of closes down here towards that 382 level, right? And that's typical with a wave 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Now, if Bitcoin comes up and takes out 89.5, good chance. Probably going to get a run up towards 100 now, right? This thing, we'll probably look at it heading back up, hitting this underside of this former resistance, or former support now as resistance, and roll over from there. Okay, now if it comes down here and it takes out 84.7, that would be the low over here. Then it's flushing to the downside here, right? And we're getting that move down. Okay, and right here, that's how we got the target. Come up here, pull it up. There you go, right? 72,000, just about on the dot, right? There's that support down there that monthly closes. Could it hit that? Yeah, definitely. Could it hit that and bounce from there? So you got the daily almost at the top, 12-hour, heading up, just heading to the upside here, right? Like I said, keep an eye on those numbers. 90, what do we have here? It's right through here, right? 89,500, breaks that, probably heading up towards 100. Okay, that takes out 84.5. It's more likely coming down that 72 target. Now, let's go over here and take a look at Turbo. Look at Kaspa. Kaspa looks like it's on its way down also, right? It's broke this major support on the outside here. Looks like it's coming back up to retest it now as resistance. And then I'm going to roll over, right? You get 12-hour, bearish, daily. Thought I'd show you this. I got a lot of people that hold Kaspa that watch my videos, look at the daily. It's about ready to roll over. Yeah, real good chance Kaspa's heading down here, 0.034, right down around that area. Let's take a look at Turbo. Hey, if you want to come trade with us, that's a level 3 membership in the description of the video. We would love to have you. Been nailing some pretty nice trades out there. Don't matter if the market's going up or down. Trade 365, 24/7, It don't matter. You can make money both ways. Leverage trading. So come join us, man. We'd love to have you. Been hitting some pretty decent ones. Ended up losing one today. That's the name of the game. Don't win them all, but just to pay for your membership, guys, it's $15, man. It's $15. You just got to win one trade to pay for that a month, and you'll make, depending on what you put, and how things go, you should, that should definitely be a pretty easy goal to accomplish, Just last night, I hit a 5x, 500% trade. And yesterday hit 100%er, doubled money. We've nailed some nice ones. We've hit some really nice trades. Ended up, I think it was about an 80%er on Kaspa. We do a lot of, 3x's, once in a while, 5 to 10x. Just depends on what the trade is, how good it goes. So come join us, man. We have like 150 some people in there. Like I said, we'd love to have you. Level 3 membership in the description of the video. Now let's take a look at Turbo here. Let's go out on it weekly. All right, zoom out, right? Zoom out, see what's going on. Had this breakdown of that wedge. We talked about that before, right? It's done. It's about done the measured move here, right? This wedge. We take this thing. There we go, it's straight. Take the width of the wedge. That's how you get your target. With that level 3 membership, guys, you also get over 20 videos to teach you how to start charting. Doing the stuff I do in the videos. I teach you all that stuff, right? It's all in there. I'm going to put a new video out for members here pretty soon, how I look for trades, what I look for, and how I pick them. So that's going to be a new video coming out soon for the members there. had a few people ask me about it, so want to get that out to you guys. Now, if you take a look, the target breakdown, we've hit it, right? This wick down here completed that, right? So does that mean this has hit a bottom? I don't mean it had to have at all, right? And that don't mean shit, really. It gives you an idea of where, a target to look for, okay, as far as plotting it out. Now if we come out in a daily, now you can see how that was on top there. It looked like it was just a wick up through there, right? But looked like the whole thing was a wick, but you can see the closes now. That's how we got the top of that wedge on there, okay? So nice looking wedge there. Broke to the downside, all right? Now, a lot of times these wedges, if they're a rising wedge, a lot of times they're going to break down, right? If they're a falling wedge, if they're coming down, most of the time they break to the upside, okay? If you don't know that, keep that in mind, because 8 out of 10 will break that way normally, right? And anybody out there trades will tell you the same thing. They normally do. I don't know if it's 8 out of 10, 75%, pretty high number, break to the upside. You got a pretty good chance of it heading up. Now, if you look at Turbo here, you got the daily RSI heading up, right? Looks good. Weekly 39 and a 40. Kind of a mixed batch here, right? Could go either way right now, the way it's looking. If we take a look at wave patterns here, could this be a fifth wave down? Well, let's go into monthly and look. Monthly is almost reset. We're at the end of the month here. It's at a 0 and a 4.7. Okay, so that looks good. That looks about reset. We come back here, it's going to 12 hour. 12 hours right at the top, right? Right at the very top here. Now, if we take a trend line down through here, and just don't go by trend line breaks and stuff for your trades either, guys. They a lot of times trend lines will fake you out. Okay, look at that. It's right on the verge. These are just give you signs. If it breaks this trend line, is it going to head up? Pretty good chance, right? Now, a lot of people will wait for a closing candle, whether it be a 15-minute candle, a 1-hour candle, 4-hour candle, a daily candle, whatever you trade with, to give you a little bit more confirmation as far as if it's really heading up or down, whatever way it breaks, and gives you a little bit more peace of mind, I guess you could say. Now, do we have a falling wedge here? Let's take a look. Looks, not quite. Thought maybe we did, but that's what a falling wedge would look like, right? Coming to the downside, right? And like I said, most of the time these will break up. Now, does this look like a pattern that could more likely break to the upside? Yeah, it does. It looks pretty decent to me, right? Now, the only thing that would be worrying me is the RSI is getting a little up there. You get your 12-hour right at the very top, but down here on the bottom, the regular RSI, it's still below the middle here, below your 50. So it looks pretty good still. You have a green candle started. This 12-hour candle just started. Looks pretty decent, right? Like I said, that daily looks good. Heading to the upside. You got your 8-hour. See where these other ones are. 8 hours turning back up. Looks like this thing could possibly break up. 4-hour has just turned up. Looking like this thing might break out. Might break up. And very, very close. Right on the edge. Okay. Now, go out to a 12. If this thing ends up coming up above, 1745, that's a very good sign. It's more than that. It's heading to the upside, right? Now if it comes down here and ends up taking out this low right over here, right here, at 1634. Hold on, because it's more likely going to break to the downside here, right? Let's get this off here, because that's not legit right there. We just got this line here. Now, if it breaks to the upside, which is looking pretty decent, right? You got a retracement, you got a fib. Where'd it hit on a fib here? Right on a 786. Beautiful. You know, you get a bounce here, this is a really good place to get one, right? For sure. If this breaks to the upside from here, if it does, you know, I'd be looking for it to be heading up towards, you know, 002397. That's a 618 up into that area, right? Up in here, right up in that area there. That's up towards your 618. Could it go higher than that? Yeah, it could, absolutely. You know, if all these are pretty oversold down there, your daily, so yeah, it's down here pretty decent. You got your weeklies down there, pretty good. You know, got a green weekly candle started here. It's looking pretty good. You know, as long as it holds here, right now. You know, double bottom maybe, two bottoms here, double bottom, push back up. Absolutely, it could do that. It could also, you know, make a move to the downside. So keep an eye, you know, on that. If this thing ends up breaking down and coming down through here, not good news, right? That would bring it pretty far down here. On a weekly, we got closing candles right through. Let me see here. It's going up monthly once. Monthly's down there pretty good too, right? But you do have possible double bottom here. You know, 1, 2, right through here. And if this thing does get a bounce here and head back up, that would be great. Just to move back up to there, you know, would be that's a pretty good move. That's a 40% move on a 10x leverage. That's 4 times your money, right? If it heads up there. Now, if it breaks down and heads to the downside, that would start getting a little ugly, right? That would mean, you know, that would give this thing a target down here, 0004 roughly, right down here. That'd be a pretty big to the drop down, right? I just don't think it's going to do it, you know. It's coming back over here, back to these prior, you know, closing candles over here in a weekly. You got right in this area, you know, like to see Turbo make a bounce here and head up. Now, if it comes down here and starts taking out 1640, you know, and starts taking out that, I would start worrying, right? You know, and start really wondering if it's heading, you know, down in this area, okay? But the RSI looks pretty decent. It's right on the verge, you know. It's going to give me an answer very, very soon, right? You got looks like a green candle started on this thing, you know. I was hoping maybe it would make a pop here, you know, but it could push down here too. You know, if you take your trend line, you know, bring it up through here, you know, something like that, you know, somewhere right through here, you know, so you'll know very, very soon here, you know, takes out 1638, good chance coming down to at least 1334 or down lower, you know, that we talked about. If it ends up breaking and taking out 0018, just push up towards that 2393 more likely. All right, thank you so much, guys. Come join us over there at that sign up for that Levels Free. We would love to have you. Posting trades there all the time. We got great traders in there. You'll love it, man. It's awesome. I'm in there all the time. Got people in there constantly. Like I said, so come join us. There's a couple links in the description of the video for trading sites, Bitfinex and Weeks. Try them out. I use both of them every day. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for watching.